Hey folkies, I am Emelie Waldken, your Scandi folk music nerd, and today we are gonna learn a Finnskogspols together. If you have not watched my video about Finnskogspols in general, I highly recommend that you watch it first so you know about the rhythm and the background, because the rhythm especially is quite complex. I have picked this tune in particular as the first one to teach you because I think it's not too difficult in that respect, and it's also a very good tune to practice this rhythm. At least it helped me a lot when I was trying to learn it. The tune is not really having a name, so we can only call it Pols fra Elverum, Elverum being in Hedmark county in Norway, and I sadly don't have more information about its name or its background. All I can tell you is that I learned the tune after Mia Marin, who said she had learned it from Claes Anders Haglund. And both Mia and Claes Anders are musicians from Värmland in Sweden, so they are not from Elverum. So the tune has been transmitted, I don't have more background info. I just think it's a good tune. Let's go for it like this. Pols fra Elverum. 2 parts, D major. And the first part goes like this. Without all the double stops. And slower. 1, 2, 3. Double stops are an inherent part of Finnskogspols repertoire, so we can dig into them at once. It is mostly open strings and mostly A string and D, but with a little twist. Let's check it. So for now only open strings, but now we're gonna have a fifth that we put on D and A strings, so E and B, and we release. I do it again. Continue. Keep the A. That's it for the A part. It's not that hard. Just be careful in the beginning not to do not dotted, but the first beat is always very straight in Finnskogspols, at least when you are practicing the rhythm and it's not fully there yet. So really try to have it ta ka ta. Except that you will have the 1 and 2 a little bit heavier than a 1 end. So you can use a double stop for that. Or even if you play the double stop all the way, you can still have a bit more accent when you go down with the bow. Like this. I have thought about a metaphor that I think makes quite some sense and can help you. Imagine that you are sawing on your own a very big chunk of wood with a one-person big saw. If you have ever done that in your life, you know that the teeth of the saw are only going in the direction of your pulling, not in the direction of your pushing. So when you saw, it goes and it's only when you pull that you actually bite, like the teeth of the saw actually bite in the wood. And that's exactly what we are after with finskåkspols. We want to do you still need like to cover the same distance with your push in the middle of the two pulls, but it's not gonna have the same weight and it's not gonna basically have this bite in the wood feeling. So you really want this that I think can help many of you with the finskåkspols in general. Let's get into the B part. Without all the double stops. 1, 2, 3. And slower. 1, 2, 3. Exercise for your rhythm of finskåkspols. Really, this saw metaphor, and not, which would be calypso, and we do not want that. So really straight first beat. And now let's get into double stops, shall we? Because there is quite a lot to be done and to be said. What I like to do is to play different double stops the first and second time through the tune. The first time I play high double stops, so mostly the open A string. And you can play it just open A and open D sometimes, pretty much all the way through, like this. Like, or if you want to vary a little bit the tension here we have G and A, so it's a lot of tension, but you can also decide to put the first finger on the A to get a B, just that note, so when the melody has the G, which will give something like this. And you release just after. Again. The whole phrase again. Which is a nice variation. And also in the second half of the part, if you want. If you choose to play on these two strings, you will have to make a little difference between when the melody is so it doesn't sound like dong 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 dong, the same notes 4 times, but you make a little difference by having your bow, even if it's still on 2 strings, it goes slightly more on the D and then slightly more on the A, like this. And maybe you release a little bit the double stops there. I tend to play the F sharp alone, and then the A with the F sharp. So like this. But you could do the reverse as well. It works as well. Then the second time through the B part, I like to use the low double stop instead. Here I am tuned in GDAE, the usual classical tuning. It's a tune that you could play in A bass as well. It would work very fine with the D major, and you can actually do that simply. But I really like to be tuning G bass just for this tune, because there is this little tasty detail that you can take on the same spot as we did the high B before. You can instead release the A and use the G, like this. You have your first finger on 2 strings, so you have A and E. This effect of the octave in the middle of this tune that is very much in D and A, like it's a lot of Ds and As, and suddenly you have a double G with an octave in the middle of everything. It gives a lot of interesting stuff that is happening, I feel. So you can just use it. And then you just go on pretty much with the A. Here a little bit of G. Double D at the end, I tend to do it. But you can also play D A or D and low A. Works as well. The full tune, first not too fast and without any ornaments. I will try not to speed up the tempo, but it's hard to play Finnskogspols slowly. 1, 2, 3. Full tempo. That signifies Hedmarken. That is all for this tune. I hope you will like this Pols fra Elverum. I think it's a good exercise for practicing your Finnskogspols rhythm, although it's not the simplest tune, the easiest tune, but it's amongst the easiest ones. So if you find this difficult, it's a good example of Finnskogspols repertoire. It is a hard repertoire. The rhythm is complicated, it goes fast, and it has lots of ornaments, double stops, and all these kind of things. Let me know how you manage with this tune, ask me your questions if you have any, and if you don't know what to write, you can just comment, "Are they elves in Elverum?" And I will know that you have watched this video until the end. Don't forget to like the video, to subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and consider supporting me on Patreon if you think that my work and my music are nice and worth supporting. Thank you very much to my patrons, by the way, for their support. I wish you good luck with this tune and finskogspåls in general, and I will see you in the next video. Hejdå!